Most people don't know this, but your legs start shrinking before you even eat breakfast. It began one morning when I stepped out of bed and felt the wobble in my knees. Not pain, not weakness, just a quiet shift like something in my legs had changed overnight. What if I told you that change starts before your first bite of food? If you're over 60, maybe you've noticed it too. Slower steps, more effort to rise from a chair, that subtle hesitation before climbing stairs. Most people think it's just aging, but it's not. It's biology making decisions while you sleep. You see, after the age of 30, we begin to lose muscle about 3 to 8% per decade. And after 60, that rate accelerates. But what most people never hear is this: your legs go first. Why? Because they're the largest muscles, the most metabolically demanding, and the first to shrink when your body senses stress, nutrient gaps, or inactivity. But here's the hopeful part. This process is not inevitable. In fact, there's a window of opportunity every single morning to flip the script. Not with extreme workouts, not with expensive supplements, but with one simple choice you make within the first hour of waking. This video is about that choice. We'll uncover the specific food that turns on your body's muscle-building switch. We'll talk about the timing that matters most and how to tame the silent hormones that quietly break down your muscle tissue before your day even begins. We'll look at a powerful amino acid called lucen and how it triggers a cascade of strength, especially in your legs. We'll talk about cortisol, your body's natural morning hormone, and why it's both friend and foe depending on what you eat and when you move. You'll discover the exact breakfast combinations that support muscle growth, balance hormones, and keep your legs strong and steady for years to come. And beyond food, you'll learn a short morning protocol backed by neuroscience that helps protect your leg muscles even if you don't have time to exercise. We'll also dive into collagen and vitamin C, two overlooked allies that restore the scaffolding of strength, your tendons and joints. So if you've ever felt your legs losing power, if you've skipped breakfast thinking it was healthy, or if you've wondered why walking feels harder lately, this episode is for you. Because your strength, your mobility, your independence begin with one quiet decision you make before most of the world has poured their first cup of coffee. And it starts now. Let's begin. Number 1. The overlooked muscle group. Why legs shrink first and matter most. It usually starts quietly. You bend down to tie your shoe, or step off a curb and feel just a little unsteady. Maybe it's getting harder to stand up from the couch without using your hands. And yet, no one really warns you. Because when people talk about muscle loss with age, they rarely mention this truth. The legs are the first to go. And they are the most important to protect. Why? Because your leg muscles, your quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves aren't just for walking. They're your foundation. They anchor your balance. They stabilize your joints. They even help regulate your blood sugar and brain health through hormonal signals. But here's the surprising part. After age 60, even if you're eating well and staying active, your leg muscles start to shrink faster than any other group. This process is called sarcopenia, and it doesn't strike all muscles equally. It hits the legs first and hardest. Why the legs? It's not just because they're big, it's because they're metabolically demanding. They require more energy, more protein, and more frequent activation than your arms or core. And as we age, our bodies become less efficient at building or maintaining that mass, especially in the lower body. Here's a real example. A 68-year-old woman named Karen walks 2 miles every day. She eats 3 meals. She even lifts light weights at home. But she still noticed that climbing stairs left her winded, that her knees felt unstable, that her thighs felt smaller. The reason? She wasn't signaling her body to preserve leg muscle. Her daily routine lacked the right timing, intensity, and nutrients, especially in the morning, to flip the switch from breakdown to rebuilding. That's the key lesson. It's not just about using your legs. It's about fueling them and timing that fuel wisely. Because even with exercise, your muscles won't grow if your biology isn't aligned. And once leg muscle starts disappearing, it's not just about weakness. It predicts slower walking speed, reduced independence, higher fall risk, even cognitive decline. But here's the hope. This process isn't fixed. It's not just a part of aging you have to accept. You can interrupt leg muscle loss, and it starts with a choice you make within the first hour of your day. That's where we go next. In the following section, we'll uncover what your first meal of the day is really doing to your muscles, and why what you eat after waking can either preserve your strength or quietly speed up its loss. Let's dive into the biology of breakfast and the hormonal switch you didn't know you had. Number 2. Breakfast biology, the hormonal switch you didn't know you had. Every morning, your body is waiting for a decision, not from your mind, from your plate. And the choice is simple but powerful. Will your body stay in breakdown mode or switch into rebuild mode? Most people think breakfast is about energy, a little fuel to get going. But biologically, it's far more than that. Your first meal of the day acts like a hormonal switch, one that tells your muscles what to do for the rest of the morning. If you're over 60, this switch matters more than ever. Here's what's going on inside. After a full night's sleep, your body is in a mild catabolic state. That means it's breaking down tissue, including muscle, to keep blood sugar stable. This is normal. It's part of how your body survives the fasted hours of the night. But when you wake up and don't eat, that breakdown continues. And the longer it goes on, the more your leg muscles quietly shrink. Here's the twist. The hormone cortisol is naturally high in the morning. It's there to help wake you up. But it also increases muscle breakdown. If you skip breakfast or just sip coffee or eat toast, cortisol keeps doing its job, pulling protein from your muscle. Now here's where things get hopeful. There's a way to shut off that catabolic process. And you don't need a pill. You need protein, especially the kind rich in an amino acid called lucen. When you eat a protein-rich breakfast within an hour of waking, your body gets a clear message. Stop breaking down, start building up. This switch, flipping from catabolic to anabolic, is essential to maintaining muscle in aging legs. Here's a simple example. Tom, a 72-year-old retired teacher, had always been healthy. But after trying intermittent fasting, he noticed his legs felt weaker. His walking speed slowed, and he began avoiding stairs. His doctor ran all the tests, nothing wrong. But the fix came not from medicine, but from meal timing. Tom started eating 30 grams of protein at breakfast. Eggs, cottage cheese, a scoop of whey protein. Within 3 weeks, he noticed more energy in his legs, and by 6 weeks, he was climbing stairs again with confidence. The science backed him up. Studies show that older adults who consume high-protein breakfasts with lucen see better muscle protein synthesis, lower cortisol, and better balance throughout the day. The lesson is simple. Don't wait to feed your muscles. They're most responsive in the morning. And if you miss that window, you miss a powerful opportunity to grow stronger instead of weaker. Now you may be wondering, why lucen? What makes that one little amino acid so important? Coming up next, we'll explore the unique power of lucen, why it's your muscle's ignition key, and how just a few grams in the morning can change the way your body builds strength at any age. Let's uncover the logic behind lucen. Number 3. Lucen logic, the small amino acid with a big muscle impact. It's amazing how something so small can have such a big effect. Like a single spark that starts a fire, leucine, one amino acid, can flip on your muscle-building switch. Most people have heard of protein, but few know that not all proteins are created equal. The magic isn't just in how much protein you eat, it's in whether it triggers the muscle to rebuild. That's where lucen steps in. Lucen is like the ignition key. It tells your body now is the time. Let's start building. Here's what happens. When lucen enters your bloodstream, it activates a powerful cellular pathway called mTOR, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. No lucen, no activation. No activation, no growth. And this is especially true in your legs, where muscle breakdown happens faster with age. Here's a real-life story. Meet Carol. She's 68, loves gardening and walks every day. But her physical therapist noticed she was losing strength in her thighs even though she stayed active. Turns out Carol was eating oatmeal for breakfast. Healthy, yes, but low in protein and almost no lucen. She switched things up. 2 eggs, half a cup of cottage cheese, and a scoop of whey protein in her smoothie. Within weeks she noticed a difference. More stamina, less soreness, and stronger legs when squatting to tend her flowers. Here's the takeaway. You need about 2-5 grams of lucen in your first meal to flip the mTOR switch. For many older adults, that means 30-40 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast. Good sources include whey protein isolate, 2.5 g of lucen per scoop. Eggs, about 0.5 g per egg. Greek yogurt, around 1-2 g per serving. Cottage cheese, rich in lucen and casein for sustained release. Lean poultry or tofu, great for savory breakfasts. Now you might be wondering, why do younger people seem to get by with less protein and still build muscle? Why is it harder after 60? That's not your fault, it's biology. And the answer lies in something called anabolic resistance. Coming up next, we'll explore what that means, why aging muscles need more than just protein, and how to outsmart this silent barrier with science-backed strategies that really work. Let's keep going. Number 4. Anabolic resistance, why older muscles need a different strategy. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, eating protein, staying active, but still losing strength? That's not laziness. It's not your age catching up. It's something deeper. It's called anabolic resistance, and it's one of the key reasons why leg muscles shrink faster after 60. Let's break it down simply. Your muscles are always in a tug-of-war between building up and breaking down. When you're young, it only takes a small amount of protein to tip the scale toward growth. But as you age, your muscles stop responding as efficiently. That same amount of protein that used to build muscle at 30, at 65, it barely moves the needle. Think of it like this. When you're younger, your body is like a dry sponge. Any drop of protein soaks in instantly. But with age, that sponge becomes stiffer. It takes more water, more time, and more pressure to see the same effect. And it's especially true in your legs, your largest and most metabolically active muscles. They require more protein, more lucen, and more frequent stimulation to stay strong. Here's what the science says. A 2022 study in Frontiers in Nutrition found that older adults needed at least 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein at a meal to reliably stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Younger adults, just 20 grams. That's nearly double the effort for the same result. Let me tell you about Frank. He's 72, used to lift weights in his 40s but now mostly walks and plays with his grandkids. He was eating a high-protein dinner but skipping or skimping on breakfast. His legs felt weaker by the week. Once he learned about anabolic resistance, he shifted his strategy. He started eating 35 grams of protein in the morning, 2 eggs, Greek yogurt, and a scoop of protein powder. 3 months later, he was able to get up from the floor without help. His balance improved. And most of all, his confidence came back. The key is timing and quantity. Your muscles don't just need more protein. They need it earlier in the day, especially when your body is in a naturally catabolic state after fasting all night. And here's the mistake most people make. They think they can make up for it later in the day. But muscle doesn't work like a savings account. You can't skip meals all morning and expect one big dinner to undo the loss, especially not with anabolic resistance in play. So what can you do? Start your day with a purpose. Hit that protein threshold early. Eat mindfully. And most importantly, acknowledge that your body now plays by different rules. And when you know the rules, you can finally start winning again. But there's one more thing silently working against you, even if your protein is on point. It's something most people overlook, and it's built into your biology. It's called cortisol. And when it goes unchecked, it can quietly rob you of the very strength you're trying to protect. In the next part, we'll break down cortisol's catabolic trap, what skipping breakfast really does, and how this one hormone could be the missing link between your habits and your muscle loss. Let's keep going. Number 5. Cortisol's catabolic trap, what skipping breakfast really does. Every morning when you wake up, your body is already hard at work. Before you even sit up in bed, one hormone is quietly rising. Its name is cortisol. You've probably heard it called the stress hormone. But in the early hours of the morning, it's not your enemy. Cortisol helps you wake up, stay alert, and regulate blood sugar. But here's where the story changes. Cortisol is also catabolic. That means it breaks things down, especially muscle tissue. And unless you interrupt that process, it continues well into the day, especially in your legs. Imagine your muscles as a bank account. Overnight, cortisol is making slow withdrawals. If you don't deposit nutrients soon after waking, the account keeps draining. Now here's the catch. The older you get, the harder it is to rebuild what's lost. And skipping breakfast, that's like telling your body, keep breaking down muscle, we won't need it today. Let me give you a real story. Judy, 68, started intermittent fasting to lose weight. She would have coffee at 8 a.m., then eat her first meal at 1 p.m. But over time, her legs felt weaker. She noticed stairs were harder. Her balance wasn't the same. When she started eating a high-protein breakfast, just 30 grams of protein within an hour of waking, things shifted. Her energy improved. Her legs felt more stable, and that mid-morning fog, gone. Why did that happen? Because eating protein blunts cortisol. It gives your body the amino acids it's been waiting for, and it flips the switch from catabolism to anabolism, from breakdown to building. A 2010 study in psychoneuroendocrinology found that high-protein breakfasts lowered morning cortisol levels by up to 25% compared to high-carb or low-protein meals. Think about that. You can regulate one of your body's most powerful hormones with a fork. That's not a supplement. That's not a pill. That's a plate of eggs or yogurt or a simple protein shake. Here's a mistake many people make. They think breakfast is only about energy or weight control. But in reality, it's about preserving your independence. Because when cortisol stays high for too long day after day, it chips away at the muscle that keeps you upright, mobile, and balanced. And what's worse, it often does this silently. No pain, no warning. Just a slow decline you don't notice until you fall. But there's a fix, and it's beautifully simple. Eat protein early, even just 30 grams within 60 minutes of waking, and pair it with a little movement. Because once you've calmed cortisol with food, there's one more step to truly wake up your legs. And you don't need a gym. You don't even need to change clothes. You just need 3 minutes. In the next section, we'll explore the morning habit that can flip your metabolism into a muscle-building mode. It's short, it's free, and it might be the most powerful way to protect your legs as you age. Let's talk about leg activation and how just 3 minutes can change everything. Number 6, leg activation, how just 3 minutes can change muscle metabolism. You don't need a gym, you don't need weights, and you don't need to carve out 45 minutes in your schedule. What you do need is 3 simple minutes. Because right after you eat your first high-protein meal, your body enters a sensitive window, a time when your muscles are more responsive to nutrients, to signals, and to movement. It's called the postprandial activation window. That's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. After eating, especially protein, your muscles are primed. They're listening, and what they want is a reason to grow. Now imagine this. You just finished your protein-rich breakfast. Now what? Here's what the science says. If you give your legs even a short burst of movement, just a few squats, some heel raises, a wall sit, you amplify the effects of that meal. You send a message straight to your nervous system. These muscles matter. Keep them. One 2018 study in the Journal of Gerontology found that just 10 minutes of light post-meal leg movement significantly increased amino acid uptake in muscle, especially in older adults. But even 3 minutes, that's enough to start the cascade. Let me share a real-world example. Dan, 72, used to think exercise had to mean sweat, soreness, and an hour-long session. But after a fall, he wanted to protect his legs without overwhelming his joints. So he started a tiny ritual. After breakfast, he'd do 10 bodyweight squats, 10 standing calf raises, 20 seconds of wall sit. And if he had time, 1 minute of stair climbing, that's it. Took less than 4 minutes. But after 3 weeks, he noticed something. He was more stable on walks. His knees hurt less. He could get out of his chair more easily. Because it's not just about building big muscles. It's about keeping them awake. See, as we age, the brain begins to forget muscles we don't use regularly. The connection between brain and leg muscle, called neuromuscular activation, starts to fade. But when you combine food and movement, you create a loop. The muscle gets fuel. The nerves get a signal, and the whole system stays sharp. So here's your micro protocol. After breakfast, take 3 minutes for your legs. Do simple movements, squats near the kitchen counter, heel raises while brushing your teeth, a short walk around the block or up the stairs. You're not just working out. You're sending a life-affirming message to your biology. These legs are still in use, still needed, still powerful. And you might be wondering, does this still apply if you're vegetarian? If you're plant-based? Can you still build muscle in the morning if you don't eat eggs or whey? In the next section, we'll answer that. Because plant-based strength is not only possible, it's powerful. Let's explore the science of morning muscle building for vegetarians, and how plants, too, can protect your legs for life. Number 7. The plant-based boost. Can vegetarians build morning muscle too? If you've chosen a plant-based lifestyle, whether for health, values, or digestion, there's one question that might keep coming up. Can you really build and preserve muscle, especially as you age, without animal protein? The short answer is yes, but it requires strategy, not guesswork. See, muscle doesn't care whether the amino acids come from steak or sunflower seeds. It cares about availability, timing, and completeness. And here's where the nuance begins. Many plant-based proteins are incomplete. They're missing one or more essential amino acids. And even when complete, they're often lower in lucen, the amino acid we talked about earlier that triggers muscle building via the mTOR pathway. But that doesn't mean you're at a disadvantage. It just means you have to combine wisely. Let's look at some real examples. Tofu, tempeh, and lentils, when paired with grains like quinoa or brown rice, create a full amino acid profile. Add a tablespoon of hemp or chia seeds, and suddenly you've got not just protein, but anti-inflammatory omega-3s too. And here's something most people don't realize. Certain plant-based proteins are surprisingly rich in lucen. Hemp seeds, about 1,3 g per 3 tablespoons. Pumpkin seeds, around 0.7 g per ounce. Soy-based protein powders, easily 2 g or more per scoop. So if you're aiming for that 2.5 g lucen threshold to trigger muscle growth, it's absolutely doable, just a little more mindful. Let me share a story. Linda is 67, plant-based for over a decade, and fiercely committed to staying mobile. But her doctor recently warned her about early signs of sarcopenia. Instead of switching to animal protein, she restructured her breakfast. Here's what it looked like. 1 scoop of soy protein isolate, a chia pudding made with almond milk and flax, a side of quinoa and blueberries, topped with hemp seeds. It took less than 10 minutes to prepare, but it gave her nearly 30 g of protein, over 2.5 g of lucen, fiber, and steady energy. More importantly, it told her body, build, don't break down. And it worked. Her leg strength began to return. Her energy improved, and she felt aligned with her values. The key takeaway: whether you eat animal products or not, your muscle still listens to the same biochemical signals. What matters is quality, quantity, and timing. Here's a simple plant-based starter combo for your morning. 1 scoop soy or pea protein isolate, 3 tablespoons hemp or pumpkin seeds, half a cup cooked lentils or quinoa. Optional, half a banana or berries for sweetness. Add cinnamon or cocoa for flavor. Blend it, warm it, eat it however you like. Just get it in within 60 minutes of waking. And don't forget your legs. Pair this with gentle movement. That's what turns food into strength. Now you might be wondering if protein builds the muscle. What rebuilds the structure around it? The connective tissue, the tendons, the joints that make leg movement possible. That's where one forgotten nutrient comes in, one that most people overlook. But when paired with vitamin C and light movement, it becomes a joint-saving powerhouse. In our next section, we'll talk about collagen and how a simple morning practice can rebuild you from the inside out. Let's keep going. Number 8. The collagen connection, rebuilding from the inside out. If protein is the brick that builds your muscles, collagen is the glue that holds it all together. And yet most people over 60 never think about it. They eat well, they move, they even supplement protein, but they still feel stiff knees, aching hips, or notice that leg workouts don't feel as strong as they used to. Why? Because it's not just the muscle fibers that weaken with age. It's the connective tissue, the tendons, ligaments, and fascia that begins to fray, dry out, and lose resilience. And your legs carry the biggest load. So if you're doing everything right and still feeling vulnerable, collagen might be your missing link. Let's break it down. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body. It makes up the scaffolding that connects muscles to bone. Think of it as the springs and ropes inside your joints and limbs. When collagen breaks down, and it does naturally after age 50, you lose elasticity and stability. This means your knees creak, your hips feel tight, and your recovery slows down after even light movement. But there's good news. You can rebuild that internal scaffolding, not with creams or pills alone, but with a very simple science-backed combo: hydrolyzed collagen peptides, vitamin C, and movement, all timed together. Here's what the research says. A 2017 study from Dr. Keith Barr's lab showed that taking 15 grams of hydrolyzed collagen with vitamin C about 30 to 60 minutes before movement doubled collagen synthesis in tendons. Why vitamin C? Because your body cannot make new collagen without it. It's the cofactor in the enzymatic reaction. No C, no collagen. And why movement? Because the physical stress signals your body to lay down new collagen exactly where it's needed, in your joints and connective tissue. Let me give you an example. James, a 70-year-old retired fireman, had always stayed strong. But lately, climbing stairs hurt his knees. No injury, just aging tissue. He started taking 15 grams of marine collagen with a squeeze of lemon juice every morning. Then, 30 minutes later, he'd do 10 minutes of walking and 2 sets of gentle squats. In just 3 weeks, his knees felt more stable. In 2 months, his doctor noticed improved flexibility and strength. The only change: he started feeding the structure, not just the muscle. So here's a take-home routine you can try. Mix 15 g of hydrolyzed collagen peptides into water or tea. Add 5,100 mg of vitamin C, half an orange or a supplement. Drink it 30-60 minutes before light leg movement. Walking, stretching, bodyweight squats. Do this 3 to 5 times a week. It's simple, it's safe, and for many it's the missing piece in their leg strength journey. Now by this point in the video we've talked about a lot: protein, lucen, cortisol, movement, collagen, but information alone doesn't build strength. Ritual does. The things you do each morning, the first 60 minutes, determine how your body ages. In the next section, we're going to bring it all together. We'll walk through a 60-minute morning protocol, a step-by-step ritual designed to stop leg muscle loss, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's turn knowledge into action and create a morning that rewires your biology for strength. Ready? Let's move to number 9. The 60-minute protocol, a daily ritual to stop leg muscle loss. What if the first 60 minutes of your day could protect your legs for the next 20 years? Not with expensive supplements or complicated routines, but with a few small, consistent actions, timed right, done daily, built into the rhythm of your morning. This is what researchers now call habit stacking with biological leverage. In simple terms, you combine what the body needs, protein, light movement, hydration, collagen, at the exact time when your body is most ready to use them. And it changes everything. Let's walk through the protocol step by step. Step 1. Hydration plus light exposure. The moment you wake up, drink 1 to 2 cups of water. Even better, add a pinch of sea salt or a splash of lemon to support electrolyte balance. Then, get outside, or at least near a window with bright natural light. Why? Because your circadian rhythm governs cortisol, melatonin, and muscle repair. Light exposure helps regulate that rhythm and primes your body to shift from rest to activation. Think of it as flipping on the biological light switch. Step 2. Gentle leg activation. Before breakfast, do 3 to 5 minutes of leg-focused movement, heel raises, bodyweight squats, marching in place, stair-stepping. It doesn't have to be intense. Just enough to send blood flow to your legs, activate neural pathways, and tell your body these muscles matter. You're preparing your legs to receive the nutrients they're about to get. Step 3. Protein-rich, lucen-targeted breakfast. Within 60 minutes of waking, eat a meal with 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein, including at least 5 grams of lucen. Some options: 3 eggs plus Greek yogurt, whey protein smoothie with almond butter and berries, tofu scramble with nutritional yeast, lentils, and a citrus slice. This is the biochemical trigger that shuts down overnight muscle breakdown and flips your body into an anabolic, muscle-building state. Step 4. Collagen plus vitamin C boost, 2 to 3 times per week if joint stiffness or tendon weakness is a concern. Drink 15 g of hydrolyzed collagen with a small amount of vitamin C 30 minutes before your movement. It helps rebuild the scaffolding under your muscle, the stuff most people forget. Step 5. Mindful moment. Before the rush of your day pulls you away, pause, write down one health intention, or simply reflect. Something like, "This morning I protected my legs," or "I'm building strength one breakfast at a time." Because when health becomes personal, it becomes powerful. Let me tell you about Lillian. She's 73, a retired nurse who started losing confidence on stairs. She followed this exact 60-minute morning routine: hydration, light, protein, movement. Within 6 weeks, she felt steadier. By 3 months, she was back to gardening. And by 6, she was walking 3 miles a day without pain. Her secret wasn't luck, it was consistency. And it started with the first hour of her day. Now here's what I want you to remember. This protocol isn't about adding pressure to your morning. It's about reclaiming control, not with willpower, but with a rhythm that supports your biology. Because when you show up for your body in the first 60 minutes, your body shows up for you all day long. And now in our final section, we'll zoom out. Because this is bigger than one breakfast or one workout. This is about building a future. Let's move to the final segment. You're not just eating breakfast. You're building a future. Let's take a breath. Because if you've made it here, you've done something powerful. You've looked beneath the surface. You didn't just ask, "What should I eat?" You asked, "How do I protect my legs? How do I stay strong, mobile, independent for the people I love and the life I want to live?" And that question matters more than ever. We've talked about how muscle loss begins quietly, especially in your legs. How your first meal of the day acts like a switch. How lucen, cortisol, collagen, and even 3 minutes of light movement can shape your strength over decades. But here's the deeper truth. This video was never just about protein or breakfast. It was about ownership. Ownership of your biology, ownership of your mornings, ownership of the future you're still building. Because you're not too old, and it's not too late. You now have the tools, you know the why, and you've seen the science. Now the choice becomes, will you protect your strength each morning, or will you let time chip away at something so vital? Here's the simple invitation. Tomorrow, take that first hour seriously. Hydrate, move your legs, feed your body what it truly needs. Then notice how you feel not just in your legs, but in your focus, your posture, your energy. Because this is how change begins. Not in giant leaps, but in small, daily actions. One mindful morning at a time. And if this episode sparked something for you, if it helped you understand your body better or inspired you to make a shift, I invite you to subscribe. This channel exists for people like you. People who believe that strength is still possible, that clarity still matters, and that science should serve your everyday life. So let's keep building, not just muscles, not just habits, but a future, one morning at a time. I'm glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next video.